Hello, my name is Rick Borkamp. Today we're going to look at how COVID-19 has affected our daily family lives, affected our routines and our schedules, and what that means for us. For most of us, I think we could agree that COVID-19 has flipped our lives upside down. Nothing is predictable. People are more easily frustrated and aggravated by the smallest of things, and family members who normally get along are less patient with each other. Not being able to spend time with friends is making us, for the many times, feeling isolated or maybe bored because we have run out of things to do. Let's look at what we can do to help build that routine back into our lives. But first, why are routines so important to us? Routine helps make our lives more predictable. It provides structure that can reduce stress in our lives. Routine establishes a purpose for all the different things we do in the day. And routine can help prevent us from slipping back into habits that are not healthy for us. For children in particular, routines are so important. They need that framework to help them feel secure and confident and to know what the expectations are. Some of our counselors here at Kettle Point will share some thoughts they have on routine and what works for them and why it's important and some tips. Let's hear what they have to say.
I know how it affects me. Just yesterday, I think I was standing in the dining room staring at a wall, and my wife said to me, "You really need routine, don't you? Or you really miss routine?" And it was totally right. It was just a kind of a free for all day, and I'm the kind of person that I like to be able to know this is coming next, this is coming next, this is coming next, and it helps me to focus. I'm not a great multitasker, so if I know here's what I got to focus on, I can do that. If I have a wide open, don't know what I should be focusing on, I can end up staring at a wall.
It kind of gives you open opportunity to deviate from important things that you've identified for yourself. So when I think of lack of routine, I think of the weekend. So my work week is I get up, I do my job, I end my day, and I have the evening for myself and my self-care, whatever that looks like. But then come the weekend, it's wide open, and I can choose to establish a routine to prioritize the things that I'm working on, such as physical activity, cooking a healthy meal, speaking to friends and family. But the weekend really just opens it up, and if you don't prioritize that for yourself, you kind of lose progress that you're trying to make, and it just allows you to make not so good choices sometimes.
I'm like that too, Dan, is that what I find is that when I lose my routine is I'm not getting things accomplished that I need to. So I have to be careful on the weekends because I could really sit around and not do a lot and be satisfied until Sunday night comes and I'm like, oh, what'd I do this weekend? It's like, okay, but now I have to go back. I'm working tomorrow and I still need to get all of these things done. So if I don't prioritize, I don't set out some small goals, not that I need to have everything packed full for the weekend or days off. I do need to have some goals set up or I don't get things done. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, what did I do today? It's like, I only watched so much TV, or I went to the snack cupboard so many times. Okay. It wasn't a helpful day for me overall for feeling good about myself and my life, my world. So
kids were younger in particular, how lack of that routine would affect them. That, and some of our kids were very attention deficit and struggled with being able to stay focused on that. And so they needed that routine just so they could cope. But I found that when there's nothing expected of them, nothing to do other than watch TV, they get restless, they get impatient with each other. Even though they get tired, they don't want to settle down because there's no structure. And the structure, I think, makes them feel safe. feel like they have some kind of parameter in which they can function and play, and they know that it's looking out for them. And without that, the frustration level and the behavior levels escalate substantially, I find, with particularly with kids, when there's no balance, no rigid structure, not rigid structure, but just structure of some kind in their day.
When we're getting up at different times, going to bed at different times, our body doesn't know what to do. So I know for me, I tend to keep, my body generally keeps the same times on the weekend, just because that's what I'm used to. And I then want to get up and do something. I want to go do things, where if I sleep in, then it's like, well, I don't know. It's like my body doesn't know what to do then. It's confused. So is my brain.
And I'm just thinking, with kids, that's so much the case. I think even parents too, that we get used to having a routine with our family of things that we do certain times. Even things as simple as eating meals together. That when the routine goes, it doesn't take long before people stop eating together. And then we stop talking about it, together. We have that downtime when we're sitting at the table together. Even if it's only a short time, but it's a time that brings people together to talk about what's going on in their day and whatnot. There's no routine that goes pretty easily. We just eat in front of the TV, or we never have any family time, even though we're all in the same household all together.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, routine can be applied in many different directions, not just for yourself. Oh, I'm going to lose weight, so I'm going to eat a healthy meal. It's also about establishing routine for connection as a family. Oh, we're going to do this together for this period of time. So it can impact many different ways. Routine doesn't have to be just this one rigid thing. It can kind of come out in different ways.
And look different. So maybe we're not going out to a family barbecue of 30 people, and we can still connect in other ways. So what could we do? Can I make something and drop it off at my auntie's house? How else can I do it? Can I make my favorite muffins and drop them off at my different family members? Leave it on their front, right? So I can still connect and still have do similar things to what I would do before. It's just done differently.
Yeah. And being able to be flexible with those routines like that is really important. It keeps us from getting stuck like that. I was just thinking, are there any particular routines that you find particularly helpful for you? For me, I need to have, I don't always go to bed exactly the same time, but I typically like to go to bed at a certain time range at night, but then I like to get up in the morning. I'm not one to sort of sleep in. And if I can get up before everybody else, I have some of my own downtime where there's nobody else around asking for anything, and I can just do a little reading, reflecting, whatever. But it's my own time, and that routine, I think, helps me start the day.
I have a similar one as well. It's just me in the morning. I get up nice and early. I can do my dishes, kind of clean my house, tidy up for the day, and prepare. Also have that space to myself to prepare mentally. What do I have to do? How am I feeling this morning? And going from there.
Dogs that will keep my morning routine.
Yes.
And wake me up with beautiful little dog kisses. Well, big dog kisses. And they want out. They want fed. So I keep my routine natural with them. And so I tend to keep the same sleep pattern, because no matter what, they have theirs. And then I tend to keep my eating similar. So I get up, coffee, breakfast, lunch, supper. So I still keep those same routines. And then it's more flexible weekends, maybe what I do in between. I try to accomplish one goal each day.
It's funny that Dan mentioned the dishes. I actually find that, I try to do the dishes once a day. Try. And it seems like a small thing, but what usually ends up happening is, if I've done that, I somehow feel a bit more motivated to do some other stuff. And it reminds me of something that I came across not long ago. I'd never find it again, but it was saying that motivation is kind of counterintuitive. Like if you wait to get motivated, it may not happen, which I have extensive experience with. And if you just sort of do something, motivation tends to follow, which is weird, but also kind of is what I've tended to experience.
Yeah.
There's a little, I'm not even sure where I heard this, but in some ways it's like fake it till you make it. That if we
Yeah.
do that routine, we make ourselves do that, eventually it becomes sort of a pattern, or we become accustomed to it, and it becomes much easier to do. And it's sometimes, like you say, we have to sort of almost force ourselves to take those first steps.
Totally. I hate
Yeah.
getting up in the morning, but I've forced myself for so long that it now is, I wouldn't say easy, but like I can do it now. And I do actually enjoy, like what everyone else has said, having a bit of time in the morning. Getting up, I don't, but I'll do it for the payoff of having some time.
I always think of the 5-minute rule, and I can do pretty much anything for 5 minutes, almost hold my breath. Well, not quite. So whatever I need to do is I will do it for 5 minutes. And if after 5 minutes, it's like, I just can't do this anymore, I will stop and think of it as accomplished. Not that it's finished, but that I actually succeeded at accomplishing something. Opposed to, oh my goodness, I only did 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes more than I would have done. So versus beating myself up for that.
Yeah, to me that sounds realistic. I can't wake up tomorrow and say I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups. I have to start with a much more realistic number. Start at 1. Heck, go to 5, maybe 10. Yeah, but definitely not that.
Do half of one.
There you go. Realistic.
Yeah.
And that's so important, because I think that's what is probably the barrier for so many people in not being able to follow through on a scheduled routine, is that their expectations are so high that they set themselves up to fail, and disappointment and frustration.
Yeah, we don't go A to Z overnight. We have to build it up slowly. So just kind of putting one step in there at a time.
Any other routines that you find helpful or valuable in your day?
Yeah, so for me personally, I've made it a goal/routine to make this breakfast dish on the weekend. That way I can portion it out and then have it for breakfast during the week. So when I get up in the morning and I don't feel like making something for myself, or perhaps I get into things real quick and then next thing I know it's 10 o'clock and I haven't eaten. So I make a habit of Saturday or Sunday, I'll make this dish, I'll put it in a Tupperware, and then throughout the week I'll pull it out and I'll eat it. And bam, breakfast is taken care of. Cool. I can make it a little healthier, and it just offers a bit more time for myself in the mornings. So it's kind of self-care, it's kind of a routine, and it's very helpful for me.
And that's great, because you're kind of adding to your healthy eating, which is hard sometimes first thing in the morning. It's like, I'd rather have coffee and sit here. It allows you, right, a little ease in your morning, right?
Another one that I find is easy to lose when we're at home for extended period of time with this is staying active, of not just taking a day where, I don't really feel like going out, so I'm just going to stay in the house all day long. And to try to find a way of putting some activity into our day, so we're not just not being active, being couch.
Well, like Cynthia, I rely on the dogs. I realized years ago that left to my own devices, I might never, ever exercise ever. And got dogs because I knew they would bug me in the morning. And it worked, because they bug me. And I finally give up and say, all right, I'll take you for a walk. And it's like fooling myself. And it's not like a super workout or anything. I walk the dogs, but it's better than nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that 5 minutes of doing something. It's a
Mhm.
5 minutes of something you wouldn't have done otherwise.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's kind of nice because, like you said, 5 minutes of something, and then at the end of the 5 minutes, if you want to do more of it, you're already
Yeah.
there, you're doing it, and it's just as simple as that.
Yeah. And I too could sit in the house all day, especially in this really warm weather now. I do not like the heat. And I would like to sit in the air conditioning. So, and physically, it's a little bit more difficult for me to do stuff. So sometimes I will force myself to go sit outside with the dogs, or, throw a ball in the backyard with them, just to make sure that it's also myself, it tires them out, and it makes sure that I get out of the house, because staying in the house all day is not good for anyone, physically or mentally. So it just makes me go outside and see the world and realize there's a whole lot of stuff out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say physical activity was a bit of an issue for myself at the beginning of COVID.
Mhm.
I found myself on the couch a lot, and probably about 3 weeks ago, I went for a walk maybe once a week or once every 2 days or something like that. And now it's built up to, I'm going for a walk 3 days in a row. I'll take 1 day off. Maybe that'll look like jogging the next day. It's built up my capacity from doing those simple walks to now being able to challenge myself a little more and apply myself a little further.
You just said that caught my attention. I was thinking of, you mentioned the word challenge. And I think one of the things that we can do when we're sort of in our own homes is connecting with other friends and stuff, whether it's online or by phone or whatever, and challenge each other to do some active things. I think for parents, I know when kids are young, we used to always try to set up play dates with kids. And now it's a little harder to do right now. But you could set up sort of play date challenges. Have them try to do something outside, take some pictures of it, and share it with their friends, kind of thing. I know at camp we're trying to do that because we don't have any overnight camps this summer. So how can we engage kids and get them involved? And doing little of those challenge activities with our friends and stuff is one way for families to keep themselves active and engage other family members and cousins and whatnot.
What does that look like, Rick?
Well, I know one of the things that we have done here is challenge kids to build something. Like take an item out of the house and make something out of it. Maybe it's recycled pop cans. And so go outside and build some kind of a structure and then share that over on Facebook or social media, or something like that. It could be
That's pretty awesome.
One I did recently. I was out and I was just noticing it was early in the morning and the dew was out, and you could see all that when it's heavy dew, the spider webs all just sort of glisten in the early morning sun. So I was taking pictures of different spider webs, and I said, this would be kind of a neat challenge. See how many different kinds of spider webs you can find, and sort of invited other people to do that and then share on our Facebook page, kind of thing. But I think families could do that with each other too. Yeah.
So,
because I know a lot of times when my kids were younger, they would say, oh, I don't want to do that. And you get them out, started on something, and then they get into it. And then you can't get them away from it.
yeah.
And I think for parents to know that it's okay, encourage them to give it a try just for 5 minutes and then see if you like it. And a lot of times they'll stay.
Well, and I hear that from parents that, it's like, well, get your kids out for a walk. And it's like, well, they don't want to go. And it's like, just get them around the block. Just try once, and try to get connected, try to find some things, find red leaves and how many red leaves people see. Do something some kind of game or challenge for each other, right?
Yeah, set it up well.
Yeah.
I know one of my daughters, if I just said, let's go for a walk, the chances of getting a yes are very low. She likes to take pictures though. So if I say, hey, I saw something while I was out walking the dogs that would make neat pictures, much more likely she'll grab her little phone and okay, let's go and take some pictures.
Yeah. Right. So it's kind of creative around how are you going to propose that? How are you going to make it work?
Mhm.
Yeah, and when you're talking about your story of taking pictures, I think of reward. So what am I doing and what is the reward at the end? You know, if I'm gonna make my goal 10 push-ups, what am I getting out of that? I'm getting some physical exercise, improving, my physical well-being. Um, is that all I want from that, or should I be doing something else? Like whatever your habit or routine is, you take some time to identify what the reward is for yourself, and maybe that will help you continue to do it, or you'll recognize, okay, maybe that's not something I want to do, and you focus on something else.
There was some great discussion on developing routines in our lives and their value and importance to us. But a couple maybe to look at as a family is eating healthy, sleeping well, and staying active. These 3 routines can make all the difference, especially for kids. Here's a few tips to help you get started. 5-minute rule. Having people try something new for 5 minutes often is all it takes to get kids moving. Plan your day. Work together as a family. Make decisions. Plan together as a family what you're going to do today. Make your schedule visible. For many kids, being able to see it, maybe post it on the fridge or on the wall, helps them to know what's coming up next. Be consistent, especially with children. Consistency is always helpful, so they know what to expect. It helps with transitions and routines and getting those in-between things done. Have a good day and good luck with your family. For more information, check out the Facebook page for Kettle Point Health Center.